Hello and welcome to the channel. Happy Car Chronicles Day. As you can see, I am in the car. I am just getting off work and I had some things running through my mind and I wanted to talk to y'all about it. If you'd like to know what I'm talking about today, stay tuned. It is April, excuse me, soon to be May. I think we've got about another week and a half before May rolls in, and we are already in 90-degree temperatures. It has been in the 90s for the past couple of weeks, and so even though we're in spring, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like we are in the throes of summer. But because I live in South Texas, our summers are a lot hotter than 90 degrees. So I am just here to talk to you guys about my spring garden and ask you a couple questions about your spring garden. Are you going to have a spring garden? Number one. But in my spring garden, I have added new containers. I have, I want to say, 5 more to put into the garden within today and over the weekend. I've tried to grow many things from seed, and I have not been successful with everything. I have had germination, but I think some of the seeds might be stunted. I think it's not ready. I've had germination on my roselle, I've had germination on my okra, and I put more seeds that were germinated in containers, and I don't see any signs of them coming up yet. So I'm hoping that I'm just being impatient. I've been feeling impatient lately. I've sown seeds for a bunch of different types of kale. I'm going to check the garden today to see if any of those have germinated. I overseeded all of those containers in the back part of the garden, back behind the shed. All of those in between the elderberry and one of the toilets, all of that is different kinds of kale. And so I need to double check to make sure that there's some kind of germination in there. It's been raining off and on. The sky is gray today. It was promised that we would get some rain. I don't know if we will or not, but the sky does feel like, or look like, and then the weather feels like it's going to rain. It even kind of smells like rain a little bit. So yeah, I've been planting a number of different things. I've been putting new containers in the garden. I've been trying to get rid of small containers that to me at this point really don't have any value out in the garden. I need larger containers to hold more stuff. And so that's what I've been focusing on. And I wanted to ask you all, if you're gardening, if you're focusing on anything. I've been working on building new things. I put 2 shelves in my shed. So my shed is outfitted with shelves in different areas where I can hang things up. I have put solar lights in my shed. I think I showed you all in a couple of videos ago. I put together some covers that I built out of old fence panels to cover my plants. My garden does not have a lot of shade. I don't have any mature trees in my area. None of my neighbors have mature trees, so we don't have any shade, and I don't have any shade in my backyard other than what I've been able to put in my backyard with shade cloth. But I don't have the ability to cover up everything, and with it being 90 degrees, low 80s today, and for the past couple of weeks, I've noticed that some of my seedling babies that I grew from seed were struggling a little bit because of the heat. I think I took you all out with me when I transplanted my melons, cucumber, tomatoes. I sowed seeds for different types of basil. I put I don't know, I've been putting a lot of things in the garden. I put loofah in the garden. Some things were looking a little worse for the wear. I don't know if it was the heat or the wind. The wind has been really bad, and I've just been trying to make sure that I'm trying to cover what I can, keeping things watered. I actually moved. I've got, I want to say 14 5-gallon buckets on the side of my house where my memorial garden is. You all probably have seen that if you've watched my videos before. I collect rainwater in those buckets. I moved all of that water into my 2 trash cans that I keep water in, and my 4 rain barrels that I keep water in. I have 1 rain barrel that's half full and 1 trash can that I could probably maybe get away with maybe 1 5-gallon bucket, maybe probably only a half of that can go in that trash can, because I've been trying to fill up my water reservoirs. That way I have water for the drought, because I believe that we're going to go into a drought a lot sooner, because it is hot right now and it's only going to get hotter. Let's see, I've tried to sow as many of the old seeds that I've collected over the years as possible. I wanted to get a number of different things in the garden, like eggplant, and I was unsuccessful with the 2 different varieties of eggplants. Those seeds did not germinate for me, and I have not tried to sow them again. I tried eggplant twice in the fall and winter time. Actually, no, the winter. I want to say it was December. What in all tarnation is happening here? Oh, nope, that wasn't for me. Sorry, y'all. I'm driving and I pay attention to all around my car. And the car behind me was flashing his lights. And I was trying to figure out what was going on there, but he wasn't talking to me. He obviously must have been speaking to the car that was on the right-hand side of me, behind me, because I guess that car wanted to move over. I say this because it's not garden related, but I am in traffic. I am being careful. I'm not looking at you all. I am driving and I'm paying attention to my surroundings. But one of my nephews was saying that his driving instructor had given him some instruction about driving and distance and using his turn signals, and I'm like, that's not right. What they were telling you was all wrong, because he stopped too close to the car in front of him. And I told him, I said, do not use solely any kind of cameras that you have in the car, because you need to be able to use your neck, turn your head, look in your mirrors, making sure that you're not running into somebody because they're in your blind spot. So yeah, I try to pay attention to all the people that are around me, because, you know, I live in Texas, if you all don't know, and it seems like there are as many gun owners as there are people in Texas that live here. So there are oftentimes people on the road who have road rage. There are oftentimes people who are killed because of that road rage due to gun violence. And so I try to be very mindful when I'm on the road of who's around me and my speed and all that good stuff. I know that's not gardening, but I felt like that was for somebody, because there's a lot of people moving around. There's a migration happening in the world right now, it seems like. And I've seen and heard different cities saying that people are moving to that city and there's no room for them anymore. Please don't come there. In Texas, we definitely have a huge migration of people. I see cars here from Oregon, Ohio, Nebraska, Montana, Nevada, New York, New Jersey, Kentucky, Illinois, New York, California, Oklahoma, Hawaii, just to name a few. I've seen all those license plates here, and we just have a huge influx of traffic. So that's not gardening, but that's for somebody. Be careful on the road. So yes, my garden is growing even more so. I've been moving containers around, adding more containers, trying to add more in my larger containers. I have some really large containers, and I'm trying to use those containers like I would use a square foot raised bed garden. I look at that container size and I figure out what can I pack in it, how much can I get away with, and go from there. I do use a lot of buckets and different size containers in my garden, and I had someone ask me, you know, you live in your home, you own your home, you're not leasing or renting, why do you have containers? Two reasons. I have been moving house this go round since 2016. I moved back to South Texas in 2011. I stayed in South Texas until 2016, and I had a garden that was in ground and containers. I sold my house, I moved back overseas, and then I was afforded an opportunity that brought me back to the United States, and so I took that job. I went to North Texas in 2017, and I lived in North Texas for a good long while, and then I was given an opportunity to come back to South Texas, and I came back to South Texas. So I've been in transition, and so I didn't want to put anything permanent in a temporary location. And I'm bringing this up because I hear people say, you know, I live in an apartment, I live in a rental home, I can't grow. I have lived in a rental house up in North Texas for roughly 6 years. I lived in a rental house, and I did put some things in the ground, but what I put in the ground were flowers because I wanted to beautify the space I was in, because I didn't think that anyone would have a problem with that, and actually they did not. They actually showcased the house I was living in on their rental website because they liked what I was doing as far as flowers and whatnot. And so I picked that house because it had a huge patio. And if you haven't seen videos from when I lived in North Texas, I'll see about attaching a video so that you can see what that garden looked like. I began to garden in containers because I knew that once I left that house, I would be going to my own house. The house I live in right now, I didn't envision it being this house, but the house, and it's mine. So until I make a move again, because I would love to have a bigger acreage footprint, but if that doesn't happen, I'm making the best of what I have. And so I'm saying that if you live in a rental location, if you have a desire to grow, you can grow. I just bought green stalks last year, and green stalks have been having a sale regularly. I was not aware of green stalks, and if they're not in your budget, they're not in your budget, because they can be expensive. And so I invested in 2 green stalks in 2 different time frames, Mother's Day and Father's Day. And so that affords me the ability to be able to grow vertically and to be able to have a big enough space to grow food in. So if you live in a place where you are renting, you can grow vertical in something like, does it not have to necessarily be a green stalk, because again, if that's not in your budget, then you're going to be put out by the suggestion. Because I remember I heard someone say that, you know, I'm tired of people telling me to grow beans. I want to eat something else besides beans. I'm tired of beans. And I thought to myself, well, I'm sorry to hear that, because I will eat beans, I will eat rice. And when there was a time where I was younger and money was tight, you know, you're newly married, you're starting a family, or you have a blended family, sometimes money is tight. And so having a meal that consisted of something that was inexpensive like beans and rice went a long way. You can do a lot with beans and rice. So I said that to say, you know, you can grow, and you gotta meet yourself where you're at. You know, don't beat yourself up, if that makes any sense to anybody. So yes, you can grow in containers. You don't have to buy them. You can find places that can give you buckets. There are some places, nurseries that will give away nursery pots. I got a lot of really big nursery pots before I moved back to South Texas. Excuse me, from a nursery. They were giving away their let's do an exchange, babe. You go, I go. Come on. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you figure it out? Hang on, y'all. I am trying to move over, and there's a car behind me trying to switch over. We're all switching at the same time, and there's also a semi who wants to move over as well. We're doing too much. We're all doing too much. Okay, we're all safe. At least I'm safe. Okay, so yeah, find places that will either give you containers for free or at a minimal price. There are locations like bakeries that will sell you their buckets for $1. Or I go to a barbecue place, one of my favorite barbecue places in South Texas, and they literally put all of the buckets that they've used for pickles and potato salad and whatever else come in those buckets, and they put them out, and they have a sign that says for gardeners. They've got the buckets and they've got the tops, the lids. They're food grade buckets. You can use them for gardening, you can use them for storing food, storing water, and I have a ton of them in my garden. All those white buckets, all but maybe 3, came from the restaurant. Also, there's a Chinese restaurant that I'm actually getting ready to go to right now. When I was in North Texas, they would save buckets for me as well. So look around, ask the question when you're at these places that you frequent, if they have these types of buckets that you could utilize for free. I had to get some new tires recently on my car, and I had the service guy, I told him before I even sat in his chair, because he was pulling the chair out for me. He's like, okay, now what do we need to do today, ma'am? And I told him I'm here for this, this, and this. And oh, by the way, I need 2 new tires on the front, because it's saying I need 2 new tires. The back are fine. But when you pull those tires off, put them in the back of my car. And he was like, I said, you heard me. When you pull my tires off my car, put them in the back of my car. I'm taking those with me. And he was like, yes, ma'am. And then as I was leaving the dealership, I looked back and I was like, okay, I don't have any tires back there. What's going on? So I pull over before I leave the dealership, and I go back inside. I'm like, hey, my tires are not in the car. Did you forget? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. So he took my car, put the tires back in, and you can use tires. And I know there's a controversy about using tires for growing food. If you are concerned about it, don't do it. But I am going to link, I watch a young lady all the time. I love her channel. She's very knowledgeable in many different things. Diva Jones 03. The vast majority of her front yard garden and a portion of her backyard garden are tires. Now, I think she got her tires from the tire shop. There are plenty of places that all they do is just like change tires out. Or maybe she found them somewhere else, but she's got a lot of tires, and she grows a lot of food in tires. I'm talking about peppers and beans and peas and you name it. She's tomatoes, she's herbs, onions, garlic. She's growing them in tires. So if you want to see someone growing in tires, that's a great place to look. There are plenty of people on YouTube that are content creators. She's not the only one right now. She's just the only one I'm thinking about, because I'm talking about tires and growing. So if you have the ability to get tires, if you have the ability to rent a small space, I do know there are plenty of people that are renting spaces to grow on, allotments. I don't know if that's what they're called in the United States, but I know GinavsGina, her channel, she had an allotment space she was growing. I want to say squash and watermelon last year. Growing with Hudson, if I'm thinking correctly. She also has, I do believe, an allotment where she's using some space to grow food. Look into that. Sometimes your city will have places where you can, for a small fee, rent a space to grow food if you live in an apartment. See, I'm still on that. If you live in a rented place, you can use your patio. If they have restrictions on what you can put on your patio or your balcony, I have a girlfriend who does indoor gardening. There are several people who grow indoors. I'm trying to think of their names right now, but I can't think of their channels. I watch them all the time. I comment on many different channels. It's been really hectic for me lately, so I have not been able to catch up on viewing a lot of you. If you're watching this, I do apologize, but life has been really hectic. I've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. So, but when I do get a chance to sit down and listen to a video, a lot of times I'm listening versus watching because I just don't have the time, and I'm multitasking. But yeah, there's a lot of people. Look up on YouTube on arrow gardens or growing. I can't think of, my brain is not thinking right now, but a lot of people grow indoors using water. I don't do it. My girlfriend's like, you ought to get into that. And I'm like, I can't do one more extra thing. I really can't. I have to give it some time because I'm doing too much as it is. But yes, this video, if you haven't figured it out, is a little chaotic, but it's about growing in spring gardens. And if you haven't started because you're saying, I don't have the space, I live in a rental place, if you have the desire, there are ways that you can do it. So that's all I have today. Like I said, I'm trying not to have a really long video. I'm in the car. I'm just getting off work not too long ago. Gonna swing down and pick up a takeaway meal, and I'm gonna go home and relax because I've got a little bit of gardening to do. It may not happen today. I may just walk the garden and just give myself a break. That's another thing before I go. If you are gardening, don't forget to give yourself a break and don't beat yourself up. If you're anything like me and you have a large garden and sometimes you have mobility issues, don't beat yourself up if there's something that you can't manage to do and if you don't have people to help you. A lot of times I don't have anyone to help. It's just me. So don't beat yourself up. Take it a little bit at a time. Do what you can. Give yourself breaks. And then just enjoy your garden. You've got to enjoy the experience, because gardening, for me, I garden all year round. And if you want to get into gardening, start small, start slow, but enjoy the process. So that's all I've got. I know it was a little rambly. I do apologize, y'all, but it's springtime, and I'm thinking about people who are wanting to start gardening and they're saying, I can't do it because of this, that, or the other. And I know that's the second place I started. My first garden was in my home, in containers, in ground. And then when I moved, it was actually when I moved, I started trying to grow overseas. But the weather, I had a short growing season where I was, so I really wasn't able to really grow a lot. The most I grew was root vegetables because it was just not conducive. And I'm not used to growing in a place like the Midwest and up there, like zone 5 and above. I'm not used to growing in places where it's like zone 5 and above. I've never been in a place for a long period of time where that is my reality. I don't know how you all do it when you're in zone 5 and above, because you have to start so much indoors and you have such a short growing season, and then all of a sudden it's over for you. And here where I live, it's 9A, zone 9A, used to be zone 8B. It is April, I think the 24th, and it's right now where I am, it's 86 degrees. It was 90, it was supposed to be 90, but I'm in a whole other part of the city now, and so the weather fluctuates in the city where I live. And it's already 90 degrees. It's been 90 degrees for several weeks now. The lows are like 70s, high, low 90s, and it's only April. So and we have, I want to say, over 200 days of growing, so I can grow a lot, and it's extended. It's still warm here in November. It's not, we don't get snow very often. It's very rare that we get snow, but generally around about Thanksgiving it begins to get cold, and I've got to start protecting things. But I'm talking about from late March, April, all the way to November, I am able to grow outside. So, but yeah, if you want to grow, start small, pace yourself, take your breaks and do your best to grow, because we all should be growing something. And that's all I have for you all today. I hope you enjoyed my little rambles in the car. Until I see you again, happy Chronicles Day, y'all. Bye, y'all.